Okay, I just want to give you a quick setup for today's video. This is one of 13 or 14 videos I shot at the 2026 Blade Show. And the Bible verse for this whole series is Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 10. If the axe is dull and one does not sharpen the edge, then he must use more strength, but wisdom brings success. Okay, we're here at 2026 Blade Show, and my first stop had to be Emerson Knives. And I'm here with Ernest Emerson, founder, and not just of knives, but I found out recently you make guitars, you're making whiskey,
Yeah.
You've got coffee now, and you're a multi-book author. So,
Yep.
And just an all-around decent guy.
Well, I hope that's all true.
So, how did you get started in? Let's just start with the beginning. What was your first kind of creative endeavor?
Well, I grew up on a farm in northern Wisconsin, and you had to be able to do everything that needed to be done. So, saying that means, you had to know about the crops, you had to know about the cows, you had to know about the machinery, all of that good stuff. So I grew up in a family where you learn how to do everything, whether it was carpentry or bricklaying or milking a cow that was down with, udder fever, we'll call it, to keep it clean.
Yeah.
But, it was just a matter of being able to do a lot of stuff and enjoying it, because again, there's nothing more for anybody, I don't care who it is or what it is they do, than the satisfaction of finishing a job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it was one of those kind of things where if I could make something, it always felt good to have it finished. And then as I grew older and all that, of course, being from northern Wisconsin, it's a hunting, fishing, outdoor, working class paradise, so to speak. You always had a knife. So I had a knife like a lot of guys my age when I was 8 or 9 years old.
Me too.
You carried them in your pocket when you went to school.
Yeah.
So knives and me and being able to tinker and do stuff, it was just kind of almost inevitable. Because I like knives, that I ended up making a few of them.
There you go. So I'm not looking at my watch to check the time. Can we step back just a little bit?
Sure,
I'm just
can.
checking. I'm doing this on you. I'm doing it on the iPhone, guys. So just bear with us. This is professional operation here.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I've noticed that recently. It seems like so many people think a knife is all they think about is a weapon. A weapon. It's, you shouldn't have that. It's like when I used to have a knife in school too. I mean, it was part of life. And people had knives. You used their tool. I can't imagine not having one.
Well, you know what? It's man's oldest tool.
Yeah.
I mean, honest. They might have had a sharp stick in the very beginning. I don't know. But the minute they broke one of those rocks in half and it was a sharp edge on it, it was like, oh, I can do a lot of stuff with something like this. And that's how far back it goes. So, I'm one of those people that kind of believes that the more that you do something generational, it becomes part of. There's going to be people that say, "Oh, you're full of, hooey," but I think it becomes part of our DNA if we do something so long. Because again, when you talk about animals, like especially dogs, some dogs are natural-born pullers, like Siberians. It's in their DNA. You put a harness on a Siberian, it's going to pull, even though it's never seen the snow or never seen a sleigh. Okay, well, there you go. I think that's the same thing with knives, that it's part of who we are, because we've had it since we were running around in the bush trying to find lizards and moles to get some food.
So when did you branch out? By the way, I forgot, I also found out you make flintlock rifles, right?
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah.
Man, that's so cool.
It is. I got to say, I've made more knives than I've made guns, that's for sure. But it's one of those passions that I just love. I'm lucky because I'm in a position where I can do stuff that I really enjoy doing, and it's really a result of the people like you and everyone else. That there's no reason you need to buy an Emerson knife. There really isn't. Because there's a lot of great knife makers, and there's a lot of knives out there. But for whatever reasons, people have said, "I'm going to go buy one of those Emersons." It's given me the ability to pursue all my dreams. And making the flintlock rifles, I mean, for gosh sakes, I don't know how long ago it was, but the Last of the Mohicans I was hooked the moment I saw that movie. I got to make some of those guns. So yeah, I'd love it. I'd love it a lot.
I think it's pretty from a, I started my whole YouTube thing like primitive survival and stuff. I've kind of progressed into a lot of other stuff now, but we had to pause for a minute because we got to sell some knives here. That's what we're here for. So we were talking about flintlocks, and for me, like from a primitive survival, end of the world scenario or whatever, that seems like that's the most potentially useful firearm because you don't have to have percussion caps. If you got some powder, you can theoretically make powder. And a sharp piece of rock. You can get and you can load that sucker with rocks if you needed to. And go bang. And maybe it gets some food, which is pretty cool. And just I've done a little bit of study, like the history of firearms. It's amazing the evolution, like the wheel locks and match locks and all that was kind of wild stuff,
Hey, you know what? There were some very smart guys back in the day, and I mean there still are. But I look at those things too, and I go, man, somebody was thinking, and they were thinking real good. Because I've looked at a lot of those things. Wherever we are, we go to museums and all that stuff, and of course all the books and everything. I'm fascinated with how ingenious people are, and it just always fascinates me because again. But when you're talking about survival, that drives a lot of innovative thinking.
It does.
I mean, for God's sakes, it's either do or die, really.
Speaking of ingenious, that's pretty ingenious right there. I always thought so. I really like that. So, I found out you're like pretty heavy into martial arts. So you're like you're almost what you would call a Renaissance man. I don't know. And it's great that you built your family business. So I see all your families here right now with us today, as they are every year. And I understand you brought everything finally into house. Like you don't outsource anything now. You're doing it that way. You're not dependent upon anybody else schedule or capacity or anything else.
Well, that's important too, because again, nobody treats your idea or your project like you do. In other words, if you let your future, again, goes back to a lot of philosophy and all that. If I put my future in the hands of someone else, it's out of my control. And that of course filters down through all the things that I do and that our company does. We knew we've got to take control of everything we do, not because we're control freaks or anything like that, but no one's going to treat this with the same attention and time that you do yourself.
But it's your responsibility at the end of the day. Nobody else is responsible.
And again, that's part of it too. If you accept the fact that you're responsible for everything that happens to you, then you can start to control what happens to you and you can make good things happen.
Exactly.
And that's, a lot of people don't understand that. They put themselves, I always try and use this analogy. Look, if you're in a canoe going down the river with no paddle, you're going to go wherever that river ends up taking you. But if you have a paddle, now you control your destiny. And you can put it in or out or go where you want to go.
And if you paddle it into the rocks, it's your own fault.
It's your own fault then. You got to
accept responsibility for it.
Yes, sir.
Like I know you got several books. Do you have a book about kind of your life philosophy? Have you thought about making one?
Yes, I do. And no, I don't. All of the books contain my philosophies about stuff. So there's two books that I have right now that I think probably are the best overall view of who I am. One is called Bad Guy with a Gun, and the other one is called Knowledge Destroys Fear. And even though I'm trying to teach a lesson about how to survive under high stress conditions and things like that, dangerous conditions, there's a lot of stuff in there that's about what I believe you should be able to be responsible for and what you should do with your life to make yourself successful and everything else. Can I mention a new book that I've got coming out?
Absolutely, yes.
I also have a brand new book coming out. It'll probably be out maybe a month or so after this Blade show, July, August. It's called Shillelagh, The Art of Irish Stick Fighting. And, being Irish and all that, I've always had an affinity for that. And I finally got the gumption up to do a book on the shillelagh, on the stick fighting.
I saw the flyer for that, and I really zeroed in on it because last year I went to the gun sight the second time, and so I was doing some training there. I was on the flight back. One of the guys with me was on the same flight. It was like a church safety class. He had a cane. I was like, man, I didn't know you used a cane. He said, I don't, but I can carry this on the airplane, and it's a stick. It's like one of the oldest weapons known to man.
Yep.
And so I bought a cane. A good cane. And I carry it with me on the planes because you can't carry the knife.
You can deliver a pretty good whack with a cane too.
So,
it'll drop a lot of people.
So I'll be looking for that one to come out.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you bring that up because the reason that the shillelagh became the cane of Ireland, so to speak, was because the British outlawed all the weapons. You couldn't carry a knife, you couldn't carry a gun, you couldn't carry a sword, and so they couldn't outlaw a walking stick. So leave it to and again, it's not just the Irish. That's taken place in a lot of areas in the world where governments or kings or whatever said, hey, the average people can't have weapons because we're scared of them.
Yeah.
But again, that ingenuity, well, if I only got a stick, I'm going to learn how to use that stick to fight too if I have to. So, again, it's just part of that whole package all put together.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. That's why I want to make sure you were the first people I saw. So where can people, obviously Emerson Knives, and then you got, is it Emerson Knives like the portal to connect to all your other ventures?
Yeah, if you go to emersonKnives.com, that's our website. That'll have all our clicking spots on the screen to go to whiskey and all the other good stuff that we got going on.
So I'm asking everybody this, and I'll put you on the spot, but my goal today is, we're at Blade Show. What kind of blade are you carrying?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm carrying the All-American.
Look at this. That's kind of like a flag emboss there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's the 250th anniversary of our beloved country. And I hope everyone has a great 4th of July. Celebrate this because, honest, this is a big one, folks.
It is.
Enjoy this country. Be thankful to God and everyone else that's sacrificed everything they've had to make this country so that we can have our knives and we can have our guns.
I was talking
and our freedom.
Exactly. I was talking to somebody yesterday. And there's so many people that we're not perfect, right? Certainly we're not perfect. We're flawed. We're made up of human beings. We're all flawed. But I hear all these people talking about how America's horrible, America's horrible, America's horrible. But I don't hear them saying, but this place is better. If you focus on the flaws, we all got flaws, right? If you focus on all your flaws, then you have a different viewpoint than if you. We are so blessed. The fact that we can go to and everybody in this country, almost everybody in this country can go to a faucet, open this little valve, and clean, safe water comes out. Like 70% of the world can't do that.
Can't do that.
We take so much for granted.
There's so many people that don't know where their next meal is coming from.
Yeah.
All over the world.
Yeah.
And by God, we better be thankful for it. And I'm 100% in agreement with you. We're not perfect, but we're the best there is right now.
Yep.
And so let's keep it. Let's make it better, but let's be thankful for what it is.
Absolutely.
And keep it going.
Thankfulness is so important. Well, and I thank you for taking a minute out of this obviously busy schedule to talk to us. It's always a pleasure, and I really appreciate it. I wish you the best success.
Thank you very much.